Okay, the next project is tightening the alternator belt, which also turns the fan. Mine, I've never tightened or replaced. It's getting loose, so you get that squealing sound every time, or not every time, but a lot of times that you step on the gas. So that's my car. So I'll see if it'll do it just to demonstrate. Not that you need to know what that sounds like. Oh yeah. That is a lovely sound, and we want to make it go away. So this is the RTV X900. Seats are up. I already took the tray out that sits here to hold dirt and miscellaneous things that you forget are in there. This tray here just pulls out. It's not snapped in or anything like that. We'll go around the other side just so we can get a look at those two bolts on the alternator. So let's see, there's your alternator right there. And here's one of the arms. Oh, this is tough. There's an arm right on the top of it. It's kind of hidden by this hose, but it's got, can you see that? It's got the gap that you use to adjust the tension on the belt. There's one bolt that holds it there, and that you tighten that up, that holds the tension, and there's one more bolt down at the bottom of the alternator that it'll pivot on. So I'm not sure if you have to loosen up that bottom one, but we're going to find out. So what we're going to do is, I figured out already that it's a 12-inch bolt in there that we need to get to. Getting to it from the front is not possible unless you take out this hose. So we are going to come in from the back. Let's see, where do I need to get to? Oh yeah, so here's that bracket, and there's the gap for adjusting the tension. So we're going to just come up right behind it here with the 12 millimeter. I got the ratchet, box end ratchet wrench. We're going to loosen it up. We're going to put a little tension on it. Once the alternator starts swinging back and forth, I'm going to take my pry bar and just, not too hard, but kind of stick it down here between the alternator and where the oil fill and what is that? I don't know what that is. I'm not an expert. And just use that to keep tension on it while I retighten the bolt back up to make sure the belt gets tight. All right, we'll see how that goes. Okay, I was able to get that bolt on this adjusting arm up there loose with my 12 millimeter ratchet closed end wrench. It seems like it will adjust a little bit, but I went ahead and loosened up the bottom bolt here. That goes all the way through. Only need to get to the back side. Also 12 millimeter. A socket with an extension was a little too long. This was in the way, so fortunately I had a deep socket I could get in there, and there's just enough room with a socket wrench to get back and forth here. Two things I should mention that I should do. Probably a good idea to disconnect the battery, which I haven't, but it's recommended. And as you all know, you have this safety arm here. Good idea to put that down. So if for some reason the hydraulics give out, you don't get crushed underneath the bed. So I got my pry bar in here. Here you got to be very careful. You don't want to start prying on something that's going to cave in, crush, or move something that's not supposed to move. So I just go ahead and give this a little bit of pressure here, and you can watch right in here. You can see it sliding back and forth. So I'm going to give it a little pressure. Check the belt again. I don't know if it'll stay with the tension it needs while I'm, if I let go of the bar. So can you see it moving? Not really. Okay, don't push too hard. All right, I'm gonna go check this belt tension again. Is that any better? I think it is a little better. The manual says how tight it's supposed to be. Like, it's not supposed to give more than 1/4 of an inch or 1/8 of an inch. And it's also millimeters, but I can't remember what they are off the top of my head. But it feels tighter than it was before. So now I'm going to get those two bolts tightened back up. We'll start it up and see if it's still squeaking. Okay, after I put the pressure on the pry bar to move the alternator a little over in that adjustment bracket. It seemed to stay without me holding it too much, but fortunately, since you're just reaching around here with the wrench and holding the pry bar right in here, you can do it both at the same time. Tightened up that top bolt first, and then I went back and tightened up the pivot bolt that's down underneath the bottom there. And let's see what happens. All right, I'll turn my fan on for a little more electrical load to see if it still doesn't squeak. Okay. All right. This is the fan switch that I put in on another video. If you have overheat issues, which I do when I'm pulling my manure spreader full of manure up the hill, and it doesn't matter if I use low, high, 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, it'll overheat because that fan up front cooling your coolant only doesn't come on until your temperature gets way up there. So we add this switch. I turn on whatever I want now. Anyway, all right, looks like it worked. I'm not a professional. Be safe. Good luck.